One of the toughest things in the world as it relates to profession is to successfully own and operate a business. A lot of people have desires of going into business and think that it's easy, but it's not. As a businessman, I can swear to you that it's not. However, one thing that makes business easier is to make sure that you have all of the resources that are available to assist, educate, inform, and improve your business endeavors. So, today I'm happy to have with me a young man who's very, very experienced in providing resources and assistance to businesses. And his name is Mr. Rick Cannaday, owner of the PP&A Corporation. How you doing, man?
I'm fine, sir. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, good to be here. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Halbersham, and as I said, I got Rick with me today, who's really a professional in providing services and information and assistance to businesses. But first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Alex, I'm located here in Georgia. Grew up in the state of West Virginia.
It's cold up there, man.
West by God, as they call it. Attended Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. Married a daughter who's now attending grad school at USC in California. A business major also. My wife works for Mercer University, and she's over the international student program for Mercer in Atlanta. So we've been here in Georgia for about 3 years, and but over the course of my career, I've established to complete about 35 years of tax studies. We offer, or I prepare taxes for individuals, corporations, partnerships, trusts, you name it. I'm also have a master's in accounting, and that has allowed me to function as a CFO for a Fortune 100 company based out of Paris, France. I worked for such organizations as Sanyo Fisher, helping them with their merger back in 1988. I was over the first ever deployment of the smart meters as we know them today, back in the 90s for Illinois Power Project. So
Smart meters?
Smart meters. So these are the meters. We designed the technology and the know-how, the software, to allow meters to communicate directly back to headquarters.
Oh, okay.
That eliminated or reduced the amount of people required to do the normal service as we've known it over the years. So that technology is out there today, but I was over the first ever project in the world.
Wow.
And trained such other municipalities as PICO, which is the Philadelphia Energy Corporation,
Right.
as well as Seattle in the state of Washington, and LADWP, Los Angeles.
Right.
So those were very innovative, and it's something that happened, like I said, about 20 years ago. That's commonplace today.
Right. So this is your first yo-yo, huh?
No, I've been around, and because of all those positions I've had, the companies I worked for, it did provide me a foundation, but it also raised awareness for myself to take a look at what I wanted to do for me. When you get caught up in corporate America, you're helping someone else to succeed, and most often, most of my jobs, I was the highest-ranking African American. Which didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything. It was always someone else getting the accolades for the work that I did. So I made a strong decision to pull back and to invest in me, to make sure that I had the ability to do more for myself and my family, as well as others that I care about. So I went into business for myself. And as a matter of fact, when I was able to get the position for the meter project in Illinois, that was as a consultant to my own company. So that was a major step for me, and I applied what I used or learned at these big companies to apply to bring it back home to our minority business community, because it's such a successful strategy, and all of the large companies are using it as it relates to employees and employee administration.
Right.
So PP&A is an organization, first and foremost, from the business side, we focused on helping companies fight the challenges of employee administration with labor laws and things of that nature. We provide a core business or business structure that's inclusive of human resources, workers' compensation, risk management, employee benefits, and payroll. And we provide a solution package to help companies, both small and large, overcome the challenges of dealing with individuals as they go through their life cycle. And a lot of companies start off not having an HR department, not having the expertise in HR, and they struggle with what the laws are, how to treat the employees, how to empower these people to help them achieve your goals and ambitions. And it's a very sensitive area, because the one thing that I've learned about most business owners is that most people did not go to school to be an employer. And they struggle. They'll bring somebody in that might have one class of HR or human resources or business class, but they can't meet the complete challenge of managing and overseeing the rights and responsibilities of the people that you need to be successful. So that's where PP&A puts a lot of focus in at the business and corporate level, is to help companies grow up. We mentor, we oversee, we can function as an outsourced unit. One of the challenges that I faced in trying to present this strategy is that people think that we're here to take people's jobs. We're here to empower people. And our mission statement basically says we help companies address the myriad of challenges of employee administration. And that's what we're here for.
That's outstanding. And now let's talk a little bit about a couple of things.
Okay.
One of which is, you said both companies large and small.
Yes, sir.
So are there any parameters? I mean, because, on a daily basis, I deal with, small businesses. Mm-hmm. Some people call them mom and pops. I guess I'm one. I don't really know the definition of a mom and pop. But I know that irrespective of whether you've got 2 employees or 3 employees or 300, the basic structure is the same. And this small mom and pop needs to be as successful as this major corporation.
Yes.
But oftentimes, people who are in business, they don't have the expertise that you have. And sometimes they think that they don't qualify or deserve or can't even have, many of the resources that larger companies have. So you say you work with anybody. So
yes.
What do you mean by that?
From startup to a fully mature company, we have clients with only 1 employee. Okay? They still have to have the payroll process, the taxes paid, their benefits administered to. And it takes the pressure of doing the administrative overhead off of their back so that they can focus on what they're good for. Why did they sign up to go into business? They didn't sign up to be a bookkeeper, unless they're in bookkeeping.
Right.
But if you're an engineer, you could be the best engineer, but you can always fail. You will always fail in business if you don't know the parameters and how to manage the protocol. So we help the small guy. We help the new companies establish their infrastructure without spending the money.
Right.
For example, let's say you've been in business for a year and you've maxed out what you can do yourself, and you want to bring somebody else on. Okay, so, and you bring 2 or 3 people on over time, but eventually you need to hire somebody to manage the human resource process or pull yourself out of your role within the organization to start doing HR. If you want to hire somebody, you could spend as much as anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 for this one person, depending on their level of expertise. In our world, we look at the situation as we help you calculate what your cost is, not just the payroll cost, and that's the mistake a lot of people make, but understand what your true cost is as it relates to employee administration. The labor, the taxes, the workers' comp, all the other things, plus the administrative cost of managing the whole process. On average, I've seen around America, the run rate is somewhere between 12 to 15% of gross payroll. Using our strategy, we could probably knock that cost down somewhere around 3 to 5%.
So you're telling me that actually engagement with your company is not a cost.
It's a savings.
It's more of an investment.
Right.
Because if in fact one contracts or engages your company to handle that payroll process, then it's going to end up saving the company money.
That is correct.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the factors, frankly, in making some businesses, but both large and small, gun shy, because they think that if they engage somebody in this process, that there's a huge cost to it. And not realizing oftentimes the benefit. So if a person had a home health care system,
Okay.
so to speak, then they have a lot of employees, many of them, who go into people's homes and takes care of sick people and things of that nature. So you're suggesting that engaging your company to come in and handle the human resources administration would really cost them less than just handling it themselves.
That is a true statement, and the reason being is this: we address not just the HR function and all of the nuances of day-to-day employee administration. I mean, the employee conflicts, the unemployment claims. There's a whole bunch of things you have to deal with. We call it transactional HR. That employee stuff. But the true role of an HR person should be side by side with the CEO, helping him manage the vision as it relates to the people, the quality of people, who we're going to hire to put in these positions to take us to the next level. Not all this tit for tat stuff. We take that off of your plate. Now, companies normally hire an HR generalist, on the front side, or somebody close to being a generalist that can handle that day-to-day stuff. But then they still have to have consultants and outside agents and other folks that are there to help with the workers' comp side, getting the bids and closing out the deals on getting the premiums and things that they need so they can operate. Then they got to pay somebody else to handle the benefits. Then they got to pay somebody else to do the payroll. Well, we handle all of that. That's one bucket for us. That's one opportunity for you. And what we do, we're not the only company, and this is not a new strategy.
Okay.
I was on the front side of this strategy back in the 80s, and the company I worked for in California focused on the transportation industry. All the big trucks that you see driving on the freeway, we handle all of that for them. All of the big boys. So now, back then it was called employee leasing. Now it's called human resource outsourcing or professional employer organizations. And we could take on that responsibility for any industry, any type of company. I know we have, I think our last assessment of the industry had shown that the industry has grown to $500 billion. When I was involved back in the 80s, it was like $90 billion. It's progressing. All of the
You mean the service industry that you provide?
Yes, is up to $500 billion, and by the year 2023, it's going to continue to grow to $1 trillion. Because it's such a popular strategy, all of these successful companies use it because it allows them to increase their margin, make them more profitable. They take these savings that's generated from using their services and they invest it back into technology or bring it on more people to help them keep their competitive edge over the other people who are still contemplating, should I do this? Should I not do it? Why are they doing it? Forget all of that. You see that it's a very successful game plan. And it would not be at $500 billion if it wasn't. And it's growing. It's still emerging. Governments use this. Municipalities use this. I mean, all walks of life use this if they just do your homework and look at it. Instead of hiring a whole room of HR people, you could take those same dollars and invest it into what you're in business for. And that's one of the benefits that I like to bring back home. See, let me, when I had this opportunity to do this here in Georgia, especially here in Macon, I said, this is an opportunity for me to come and help educate people on what's going on in corporate America. And everyone is not going to be in corporate America, but you have to be on that stairway to it. You don't get in business to be small the rest of your life. You get in business to be successful, to succeed, to pay some taxes. When you're paying taxes, you're profitable and you're successful. I'm not going to let you overpay taxes, but you're going to pay taxes with a good feeling about it.
Right.
Because I did the right thing.
Right.
And I support that.
Well, one thing I see that, you've got several, and I'm working with some, you've got several contractors and subcontractors in Macon, and, throughout really. And I know that many of them are what you call artisans. Mm-hmm. They can, look, they could drive a nail with their eyes closed. They could cut a window, painting with the eyes closed. But as it relates to other elements of business, then they probably got some problem because they don't know all of this. So what would be the advantage of a small business, a small business person who in fact knows the craft? But then you can talk about this, but there are a whole lot of things, including all those things that you do, that are involved in trying to be successful in business. What would be the advantage of coming to PP&A?
Well, first and foremost, we'll do a complete assessment of your organization.
Now, put a pin in there. So now, would that be possible for any business? Maybe a small business or even somebody who wants to go into business. So you're saying that the Macon Middle Georgia Black Pages, I could call Rick Cannaday, and then you could come in and do an assessment in risk management, personnel, workers' comp, insurance, payroll, and the whole works?
Employee handbooks.
I
I can take a look at it. Make sure that you, the client, has a viable business plan, baseline. Because a lot of people go into business just because they know how to make the best steak, make the best steak in town. But what happens after that steak is cooked?
Yeah,
somebody got to account for it, right? So, and most likely, if you're somewhat successful, you didn't cook the steak yourself, so you had to pay somebody to cook that steak.
Right.
You had to pay somebody to get the steak.
Right.
And so it's more people with their hands in the pot, and we want to make sure that everything is placed and seated correctly, so that it's fluid, seamless, and you're in compliance. The key word is compliance. And there's numerous checklists based upon the area, the department that we work in, the industry that you're working in, to make sure that you're compliant. That's what it's all about. To make sure, laws are changing with regards to overtime, about the Affordable Care Act, all of these things. We have that under control. We can put you in a situation where your employees are under our payroll so that you don't have to be exposed to the 50 employee threshold. There's so many things that we can help you with that are legit. And these are the types of strategies.
That's the key word.
Yeah, legit. Legit. I like saying that word, legit. Because, as Hammer said, we are too legit to quit.
Yeah. Legit to quit. Yeah,
we want you on that bandwagon. And I've seen so many of our own people trying to shortcut the system, not paying people as employees, just doing different things that are outside of that rule of compliance. And I've seen situations where that environment was in place up until we had a disgruntled employee. That person leave the fold, and it circles back to the government office and say, I want my unemployment.
Yep.
Well, sir, we have no record of you working anywhere. Well, I've been with this company for 7 years. Well, they never returned anything. Well, he never took taxes out. So now you, the employer, are back in trouble now because you got to go back and answer those questions.
Right.
What happened to this man's unemployment taxes or Social Security or federal income tax?
Right.
So I've seen a lot of cases where people try to shortcut paying a few taxes over here, but when it backfires, they pay 10x of what they were supposed to pay to begin with.
Right.
So we help you.
You talked some about insurance. You're telling me that your company can help people decide, what kind of insurance, how much insurance, help to secure workers' comp and things of that nature?
Yes. If you come on board as our employees, we have our master policy, a master workers' comp policy. So all of our employees roll right up underneath that. When I say our employees, they're our clients' employees. We roll right up underneath that same policy. It's functional in all 50 states.
So you're saying these contractors, who in fact are subcontractors who hire the contractors themselves, the company itself would need workers' comp, right?
That is correct, yes.
So
to cover their exposure to the risk.
So if one of their employees or somebody who's working for them were to get hurt, then if they can have workers' comp through PP&A, and then that would pay that employee, so to speak.
That's correct, yes. So, based upon the risk of the type of work that's been done, are you a welder versus somebody working in a bakery or somebody working in the office? There's different rates for, based upon the elevated risk. But we accommodate that.
But they can you can get a better rate than they can because you got so many people under the umbrella.
We get the volume pricing.
Yeah,
so we can most cases we can beat the company going solo trying to get the same quote.
This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing Mr. Rick Cannaday, who's the president and CEO of PP&A, and we're having a very, very good discussion. And I tell you what I want you to do. Those of you who are in business, you need to take a listen. So if you come in the middle of this interview, rewind the tape. So you can hear the whole thing. Additionally, if in fact you know somebody in business, if you know somebody who are interested in going into business, or in an existing business, then I encourage you to apprise them of this information because it's certainly very, very meaningful, and it's helping me, and I'm sure that it can help a whole lot of other people if in fact they choose to do so. Well, let's talk some about taxes.
Numbers is my game. So, like I said, I've been doing taxes about 35 years. I have other people employed through PP&A that are also tax experts, tax professionals, from attorneys, enrolled agents, and we, like I said, we do all organizational types, nonprofits, trusts, fiduciaries, LLCs, corporations, you name it. Okay. We also provide the strategy to help you determine what is the best organizational structure for you.
Right.
That I think is very important. I've encountered a lot of individuals who have been advised to just and walk away. And I've seen people have to overpay in the self-employment taxes or Social Security taxes. So there are strategies for that to help minimize what you would need to pay. So LLC is a good protection plan in terms of organizational type, but a lot of people don't know that when you set up an LLC, you have a choice. Do I want to be taxed as a partnership or as a corporation? And as long as you stay within partnership, sole proprietor, that realm, you can't pay yourself a paycheck, and you have to pay the higher level 15% of Social Security tax. But if you choose to be a corporation, I'll help you set that up, and then at the same time, take your corporation and set it up as an S corp. As an S corp, you don't pay the self-employment tax, and you can also take a paycheck.
Wow.
So the simple strategy is
information is powerful. Well, I mean, how about everyday Joe Blow taxes? I mean, are you people who are interested in, W-2s are coming?
W-2s, yes we do.
And then, do you deal, individually with individuals who want to file their taxes?
I have tax offices around the country just to accommodate the volume of individual clients that I do have.
Right.
And we also offer e-filing services as well as the refund anticipation loans. Back in the day, they used to call them rapid refunds.
Rapid refund.
So we can get up to $2,500 in advance loans. And that's a hot ticket come January, and tax season starts. The week
Now, will you be providing that service in January?
For those in Macon, Georgia, they can easily come down to 582 Mulberry Street, right next to Michael's, and corner of 2nd and Mulberry. And we've been there for over a year now at that location, and you'll be surprised what you'll find. Yeah.
That's
Come on in and have a cup of coffee, and we'll talk about the numbers there.
Well, now, how can a person? What's the best process for to get a business analyzed? I'm sure there are several companies and several individuals, and I know you are just one person. Is there some kind of form or something that can be filled out, or can they call the office and say what their needs are or what they're interested in? We also need to give. I'm sure that your website will address some of that, but how should one contact the company?
We promote it in our written and printed materials on the website. Call for a free consultation.
Okay.
That's all it takes. It doesn't cost you. If it takes 2 or 3 hours, it's not going to cost you a dime.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we have an understanding on what your needs are.
Right.
Then we advise.
And that phone number is
844-233-1893. That's the toll free.
That's the 800 number.
And the
you think you can say it again?
844-233-1893.
844-233-1893.
Yes. And the local Macon number.
Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I'll check it with your help over there to make sure we got it right.
She keeps me
Miss
in
Maxine
check.
Wilson. Okay.
Yes, Miss Wilson, Director of HR. She didn't want to be on the camera today, but you'll see if you come down. Yeah. We have a local number from Macon. That's 478-292-8444.
And the website?
www.ppassoc.com.
www.ppassoc.com. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Haversham. I have an interview. Mr. Rick Cannaday,
thank you, sir,
CEO, President of PP&A. And then if you got any questions or you want additional information, don't hesitate, because those resources can be very vital to yours and my business. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Haversham. Have a great day.